this is what could already be considered the holy grail of power supplies. The Be Quiet Dark Power Pro 13, the 1300 watt version of it. It screams pure excellence. Not only does it offer an incredible unboxing experience, a fantastic, thick, sturdy brushed aluminum casing, tons of cables and connectors, special features and accessories, but also phenomenal 80+ titanium efficiency and outstanding performance with the latest tech implemented, all while being extremely quiet. No questions asked, this PSU is a masterpiece, and I can tell you that right away. But all that also comes at a price. This clearly is a PSU targeted at diehard PC enthusiasts that only want the best for their system and are ready to spend a hefty amount of money. At the time of this video, the 1300 watt version of the Dark Power Pro 13 goes for about $400 to $420 US. That is a lot of money to spend on a PSU. There, however, also are lower wattage versions out there at lower prices. Such a power supply is backed up with a 10-year warranty. The unboxing experience speaks for itself. In addition to the PSU itself, part of what comes included is the large number of cables, as it should be for 1300 watts of power. Since this model fully meets the new ATX 3.0 standard, in addition to PCI Express, there are of course 2 pieces of 12-volt high power cables included, each with a power rating of 600 watts. Inside the plastic bag, we on the one hand get cable combs for a nice clean cable look along with proper bends, Velcro and regular cable ties, thumb screws as well as irregular screws, and last but not least, a PCI slot cover with a switch named for clocking key. Alternatively, you could also just make use of the jumper. I'll tell you more about what's up with that overclocking key soon. Of course, we are also getting a thin manual. The very first impression of the Dark Power Pro 13 is nothing short of amazing. On the one hand, it is quite long in terms of dimensions, coming in at a length of 200mm. On the other hand, no standard casing was used here. Apparently, Be Quiet have opted for their own very elegant, sleek and robust aluminum casing, which also comes with that popular and pleasing brushed aluminum look. Visually, it's very appealing indeed, albeit a horrible fingerprint magnet. The main side of the PSU is where we see a huge mesh fan grille. Behind or underneath it is Be Quiet's in-house 135mm Silent Wings fan featuring an FTB bearing. But this fan is pretty special because it is frameless. However, should the fan ever die after those 10 years of warranty, it won't be an easy task replacing it. What also needs to be said is that the fan does not operate semi-passively. It's spinning constantly, even at very light PSU loads, but completely inaudible. While I personally prefer fans that don't stop spinning on power supplies, with other enthusiasts in mind, I would have appreciated the option of giving us a switch, for instance, that allows semi-passive cooling. As it is very much expected in this price range, of course, it's a fully modular design, meaning each cable is therefore detachable. A fairly big feature certainly is the fact that this is primarily a multi-rail PSU equipped with several 12-volt rails, 6 to be exact, all of which can be combined and transformed into one single massive rail for some really brutal power delivery. The so-called overclocking key with that switch takes care of that, or if you prefer it simpler without any PCI slot cover, a jumper that pretty much does the same. However, make sure to only switch into different rail modes when the power supply is completely off. A single 12-volt rail with the amount of power this one is capable of handling usually only is desired by extreme overclockers out there. Part of the ATX 3.0 specification is to cope much better with high power spikes, basically peak loads. The manufacturer advertises being able to handle up to double the nominal load, in this case 2600 watts. Within this price range, it makes sense we're talking about 80+ titanium efficiency reaching up to 94%. The Dark Power Pro 13 is of course equipped with all the necessary protections and offers a high number of cables and connectors, including one 24-pin main connector, one CPU 8-pin, one CPU 4+4-pin, 6 PCIe 6+2-pin, two 12-volt high power connectors, 16 SATA, and 5 Molecs. All cables and connectors are kept neutral in color, the majority of them even being individually sleeved, although the two 12-volt high power cables don't come with a very uniform look and aesthetically are kept rather old-fashioned, one could say. The length of the individual cables is sufficient and exemplary so that every cable can easily make it from point A to point B, even in large full tower PC cases. By the way, I find this really fat power plug pretty insane in a good way. We are probably dealing with some really heavy-duty equipment here. We've now come to the section in which we focus on the internals of such units. Of course, I should warn you that opening up power supplies and touching any of the components in there is very dangerous and can be life-threatening under certain circumstances. The actual process of getting inside this thing is a little different from many other PSU models. I find it really neat that a fan's mesh grill can simply be pulled out like that on rails. The fan inlet with a specially shaped funnel is an attraction right away. Generally speaking, there's a lot of work behind every facade we take a look at, and it does show. Admittedly, I initially expected the OEM FSP to be the manufacturer of this unit, but I'm pretty sure that Channel Well Technology, or CWT for short, is behind this platform. It's fair to say that it's an OEM largely known for good quality PSU platforms. The unit is kept extremely tidy and virtually without any cables, which is good for cooling. Unfortunately, I have to admit that I cannot be considered a professional when it comes to electronics, such as power supplies. I can therefore only show and talk about things that are obvious to me, but that's about it. We are dealing with a fully digitally controlled unit and a full bridge LLC topology. In theory, that helps achieve great signal stability and high efficiency. SR technology or synchronous rectification, along with DC to DC conversion, are, needless to say, part of the standard spec nowadays for reputable brands. As far as the use of capacitors is concerned, Be Quiet consistently decided to use the highest quality there actually is available on the market. Every capacitor inside here, whether electrolytic or polymer, is Japanese and can withstand up to 105 degrees Celsius. Since some manufacturers unfortunately sometimes like to mislead us with their information, I like to check for myself which capacitors really are used at the end of the day. Actually, on the primary side, I was able to spot ones by the brands Nichikan and Nippon Chemikan at 400 volts, 680 microfarad, and 2 pieces at 400 volts, 470 microfarad respectively. On the secondary side, some more by Nippon Chemikan, Nichikan, as well as ones by Rubicon. For polymer capacitors, we see they've gone for a mix of FP Cap and United Chemikan. So we are in fact being told the truth. Unfortunately, my testing options are very limited, both due to lack of knowledge and testing equipment. The measured idle voltages are already very close to the ideal values and remain practically unchanged even at higher loads. In terms of efficiency, I was positively surprised by the Dark Power Pro 13's incredible results, even when handling a load of only around 400 watts, and that's even when comparing against other renowned 80 Plus Platinum and Titanium PSUs. Conclusion: the Be Quiet Dark Power Pro 13 is actually one of the best out there, but it's basically only targeted towards enthusiasts. The purchase of such a PSU would surely break the budget of many buyers. However, if you check and compare within the high-priced, high-end, enthusiast product range, today's Be Quiet model tends to be one of the cheaper, more affordable ones, especially since all ATX 3.0 specifications are met here. In this video, you've pretty much heard praise only, but for me, or more so for a specific group of enthusiasts, it would have actually been nice to have the option of going for semi-passive for the fan. Not that it's needed as far as noise levels are concerned, but to prevent wear and tear, I believe. In a perfect world, the 12-volt high power cables would also match the rest of the cables in terms of appearance. Apart from these minor things, there's nothing else that can be held against the Dark Power Pro 13 from a technical point of view, which is why it deserves a strong recommendation. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and until the next one.